Hello, friends. The 1055th day of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. This weekend, Ukrainian military telegram channels confirmed that Kurakovy has been captured by Russia. Let me remind you that the Russian Ministry of Defense announced this on Monday. Kiev has not officially confirmed this. The reports of the Operational Strategic Group of Forces, Kortitsia, speak of Russian attacks not far from Kurakovy, or the city is not mentioned at all. Russian telegram channels are already showing videos from the streets of the city. After capturing Kurakovy, Russian troops are advancing to the west towards Yevhenii and Yantarny, writes the military telegram channel Deep State. Yevhenii is being erased, and Russian infantry has also been spotted in the area of treatment facilities west of Kurakovy. The enemy is shelling the crossing between Ulekli and Kostiantinople with barrel artillery. Reconnaissance groups are trying to approach Andriivka from the east, the telegram channel writes. According to its map, the fighting is taking place approximately 2 kilometers on both sides of the road from Kurakovy to Zaporizhia. The so-called Donetsk People's Republic has announced that it has already taken control of Ukraine's largest lithium deposit in the Shevchenko area, north of Kurakovy. Pushilin says that these resources will now benefit Russia. Previously, experts said that the Shevchenko deposit was the most adequate in terms of quality in Ukraine. At the same time, Russian telegram channels indicate that the lithium reserve layer reaches the villages west of Velika Novosilka, which Russia is currently storming. Russian troops have also advanced in the Pokrovsk area. According to the map of the military telegram channel Deep State, to the east of Pokrovsk and Mirnograd, they have approached the highway to Kostiantynivka. It is just over a kilometer away. Russian telegram channels they claim that the highway has already been cut. Fighter Muchnoy writes that the Ukrainian armed forces are not allowing the enemy to gain a foothold on the highway and are trying to counterattack. According to him, the intensity of the fighting is not decreasing. The Russians are constantly accumulating in previously occupied positions, and very soon strong strikes will begin. To the southwest of Pokrovsk, the Russians have reached the outskirts of the village of Kotliny, as well as in the area of Usmanivka and Pishchiny. The vector of movement is towards the Pokrovsk-Pavlorod highway. The Russians today officially announced that Pishchiny has been captured. Ukraine has not confirmed this. At the same time, a little further south, the front line has come even closer to the Dnipropetrovsk region. Now it is already approximately less than 7 kilometers. This happened after the capture of the village of Solony by the Russians. As the front approaches their region, the authorities of the Dnipropetrovsk region write that they are inspecting the construction of fortifications on the border with Donbass and post photos from there. They say that all tasks set by the General Staff are currently being carried out in full. Let me remind you that earlier the Ukrainian military stated that there are no powerful fortifications of the Ukrainian armed forces beyond Pokrovsk in the direction of the Dnipro. Ukraine has stopped coal mining at a mine near Pokrovsk due to the approach of the Russian army, Reuters reports, citing sources. This is the only mine in Ukraine that produced coking coal needed in the steel industry. They have all stopped working now. There is no production there, they only work on the surface, the sources say, noting that evacuation is already underway. The situation is also worsening for the Ukrainian armed forces in 2 other cities in the Donetsk region, Toretsk and Chasiv Yar. In Toretsk, the Russians, as German military analyst Julian Rurk writes, have reached the extreme northwestern part of the city. A number of neighborhoods in the north and a small area on the southern outskirts remain under the control of the Ukrainian armed forces, according to the Deep State map. More than half of the city is under Russian control, and the rest is in the gray zone. At the same time, the Ukrainian military paints an even more dire picture. The enemy controls almost everything in Toretsk except for the Toretsk mine. The enemy is storming intensively. I don't know if we will be able to hold the mine, in my opinion no, said a fighter with the call sign Muchnoy. In Toretsk, there are currently skirmishes in literally all the areas that are still under our control, writes a Ukrainian officer with the call sign, Alex. According to him, as soon as the Russians are able to capture the city, the situation near Chasiv Yar and in the defense of Kostiantinivka will sharply worsen. In Chasiv Yar, the Russians captured the northern districts of the city, as well as the strategically important fireproof plant, which was the center of defense of the Ukrainian armed forces in the city. The city, which was previously called Chasiv Yar, is being lost, wrote a Ukrainian soldier with the call sign Bakhmut Demon. Deep State writes that the Russians continue to turn the city into ruins, and the situation there is quite difficult and intense with daily battles. The enemy tried all the time to completely occupy the fireproof plant, and unfortunately, he managed to do it. Also, by constantly putting pressure on the micro-districts Novi and Yevhenii, the Russians managed to achieve success there. The situation is also difficult in the Pivnishi area, where the enemy is trying to gain a foothold in order to further advance to the western outskirts of the city. Constant attempts to storm and an endless number of Russian infantry are given as signs, and each unit of the defense forces makes efforts to prevent the enemy from advancing and, accordingly, completely occupying the city, reports Deep State. In addition, Russian troops are advancing towards Lyman in the Donetsk region. They are attacking the village of Kolodyazi from the recently captured Ivanivka, as indicated by both official data and messages from Ukrainian telegram channels. The Operational Strategic Group of Troops Kortitsia states that Russian troops infiltrated the positions of the Ukrainian armed forces in the Kolodyazi area. Measures are being taken to repel the attack. This is also confirmed by the military. In the Lyman direction, the enemy is trying to break through to the settlement of Kolodyazi, where fire contact with the enemy was recorded at a distance of about 1 kilometer to the settlement, clarifies an officer with the call sign, Alex. Kolodyazi is located on the western bank of the Jerabits River, where the Russians recently created a bridgehead and are developing their offensive from it. From Kolodyazi, the road leads to the city of Lyman, which is 15 kilometers away. Friends, I understand that the duration of events is becoming less relevant for you, but for me, the situation is only getting worse. Those who have been with me for a long time know that preparing reports on this channel has become my main job, and I have no other job for obvious reasons. Lately, the channel has had few views, so I ask for your help. If you have the opportunity to support me with a cup of coffee, I will be very grateful. Thank you very much for understanding, and see you in the next video.